Thank you so much. Navdanya is the pronunciation, and it means both 9 seeds for diversity, but it also means the new gift of the commons, because part of our work was to not allow patenting of seed and not allow monopolies on biodiversity or biopiracy. So 5 minutes is a short time. Let me package as much as I can. The issue of climate justice was already mentioned, but just this last week, we had climate extreme weather in my region, in Uttarakhand, where the Ganges starts. 77 people have died in landslides. In February, the place where the Chipko movement started had a glacial melt and then dam disasters all combined, 200 people dead. 2013, another glacial melt, Chorabari Glacier in Mandakini Valley in Kedarnath. And according to local peoples, 20,000 people washed away. 2010, the arid zone of Ladakh in the Indus Valley lost 200 people, but Pakistan had devastating floods. So it's not predictions anymore, it is reality. And the climate fund was supposed to be 100 billion. The assessment is this year's loss and damage for India alone is 87 billion. So many farmers have lost their entire crop. I went to Delhi a week ago, the basmati of our members was standing so beautifully. And then there's been a hailstorm and the basmati's been wiped out. All of West Bengal is under floodwaters. Orissa, floodwaters. So 87 billion, that's one country, one season, or one year. And they're talking 100 billion. The data is so clear that the rich countries which cause the problem still continue to cause the problem. The US is responsible for 40% excess emissions, EU for 29%, together the G8 countries, 85%. And the 10% rich people are responsible for 50% of the emissions. 50% of humanity is responsible for 10%. This is the old debates of how such a tiny group uses up the planet's resources. Now they're using up the planet's resources for pollution. The false solutions really are trying to engineer the climate, geoengineering, solar geoengineering, sending the sun back, not realizing this planet lives on the sun. Carbon capture, when every green leaf is an amazing carbon capture technology. 3 seconds of removal is all that a giant plant in Iceland does. And they are looking at $5 trillion subsidies. That's where they'll take the money. And they might give it to third world or direct development funds where their polluting industry then get carbon capture plants and they'll be net zero. Net zero is the other trick, where the polluters keep polluting. And by 2050, they have grabbed our land, our forests, our seas, by new manipulation of what is climate friendly and what is not. We have watched the explosion of fake fish to end fisheries, fake meat to end pastoralism and livestock, fake food like Impossible Burger. Industrial agriculture is 50%. Industrial agriculture in the globalized food system with ultra processing is 50% of the climate problem. With more ultra processing, more giant farms, more destruction of small farms, we will have a bigger problem. I think South Asia is not just the worst victim. If we realize that all this is part of industrialism and colonialism, and then we turn to ourselves in pre-colonial times, the richest part of the world, East India Company created to colonize us, and then split us and made boundaries, the British, and divided us. We were 25% of the world economy without fossil fuels, with biodiversity, with the same sources of ecological processes that can help the climate of the planet, allow it to be hospitable to us. The Earth reduced her carbon dioxide from 4,000 parts per million to 270 through photosynthesis. She reduced her temperatures If without life, without photosynthesis, her temperatures were 290 degrees. Reduce them to 13 degrees. So while they're looking at ceilings of 1.5 or 2% rise, we got to ally with the ecological laws. We've got to ally with the biosphere. We've got to ally with the biodiversity wealth of South Asia. That's our true wealth. That's our wealth for mitigation. That's our wealth for adaptation. That's our wealth for resilience. In Navdanya, we saved seed. We just saved seed because we didn't want it patented. And among the seeds, we had saved the salt-tolerant seeds that have allowed us to deal with cyclones and floods. Drought-tolerant seeds that allow Bundelkhand to see itself through 3 seasons, 4 seasons of drought. So we do need to turn to our indigenous knowledge. We do need to turn to nature's technologies that have already brought temperatures down from 290. These are the technologies that give us food. These are the technologies that give us fiber. These are the technologies that give us everything we need. We need to bring ecological technologies back into the picture. And we have to work together to prevent the criminalization of our basic needs and our livelihoods, just like an attempt was made to criminalize seed saving, and we created Navdanya to stop it. We need a South Asian boycott system of fake fish, fake meat, fake milk, fake food, because that is where they're going to try and take it. And every bit of it is against science of ecology. Every bit of it is a corporate manipulated science. It will generate billions if they have their way for the billionaires, but it will wipe out large parts of the small livelihoods that are biodiversity-based livelihoods on our subcontinent. So let's work together to not just mitigate climate change, but build a resilience and create true ecological living economies that work for all life on Earth.